Hey, welcome to my channel, Simplicity is Sexy by Dr. Jamie, where we are exploring wellness and creativity. I want to give a quick shout out to my sweet soul sisters, Danielle and Sarah. Thank you so much for watching my videos and giving me positive feedback and encouragement. Very much appreciated. Love you. All right, so I'm turning over a new leaf, unfolding a new leaf today, and talking about my experience with learning to sew over the last little over a year and a half. So research tells us that challenging our brains to learn new things and actively participating in challenging activities and problem solving helps us to keep us sharp and helps our brains to age more gracefully. So, well, I do not feel entirely graceful with the sewing thing yet, but I do feel like it has really opened up an avenue for creativity, a new avenue for creativity in my life that has brought a lot of joy. And you're joining me in my sewing / yoga studio today. I've been at the yoga and teaching yoga for much longer than I have been learning to sew. And you'll see I've got my yoga mat is already set up and ready to go, so that when I've been at my sewing machine for a while, I can hop onto my yoga mat really quickly and do some gentle stretches to release the stress and tension that builds in my shoulders and neck. So if you haven't already, I have some sewing quick break videos that I posted earlier that are really simple, gentle stretches to help release stress and tension from your neck and shoulders and upper back when you have been creating at the sewing machine and you're starting to feel it in your body. So McCall's pattern 7120. This is a learn to sew pattern, and I wanted to talk through this with you today and to give you some of my insights as a true beginner sewing this pattern. One of the things that I've noticed in the YouTube land is that there are not a whole lot of true beginner learn to sew patterns being talked about on YouTube. So here we go. All right, this was my first attempt at sewing a dress. And I went by the measurements, and according to the bust measurement, I should have made a medium. So I did indeed cut out a size medium from this cotton fabric that I got from SAS Fabric Warehouse in Tucson. Woo woo! What an awesome resource as a new sewist to have a fabric warehouse in your community. So this is a really nice, heavy quilting cotton. I know that's sort of like a no-no for some people who are sewing garments to use quilting cotton, but hey, it was like $3 a yard, and it's 100% cotton. And I was, like I said, very new into the sewing thing. So this was a great opportunity for me to explore and to create with very little risk, since I only paid like $3 a yard for this. So I learned how to do bust darts for the first time with this pattern, and I'm just gonna say it was a very big learning experience for me with sizing, because cut by the bust measurement as I was instructed to do, I made a ginormous sack with armholes and a neck hole. It was so big. You can see that my neckline here it's pretty big, and there was so much extra fabric in the back that, you know, fit wise it definitely qualified as like the failed 4-H project, white ribbon from the judge. So I was like, you know, a little frustrated, and my mom was down to visit at that time, and she looked at it and she's like, yeah, you might be able to get that to fit, but it's going to be a heck of a lot of work. And she's like, I don't know about all that extra fabric in the back. There's no closure, so they want to give you extra fabric to get in and out. And so you've got a big bunch of extra fabric in the back of your dress. So what I ended up doing was just a hack of the pattern, and I cut it off. I cut the skirt off and just made a little shell top out of it. Looked at another top and figured out how to do this little shirt tail business. And then I just kind of made it dip a little bit in the back so that this extra fabric here would have a little bit of some place to go. And yeah, 100% cotton. I have worn and worn and worn this thing because I live in Arizona, and because it is boxy and because there is so much fabric in here, it's super cool and comfy to wear in the hot months. And it's been worn and washed and worn and washed and worn and washed. So this was my first attempt at McCall's 7120, and I ended up turning it into a shell, and I love it. So I've also done a couple of other hacks with this pattern. I was like determined to try to get the size right. So I went on to make a top from this dress pattern, and I went to the size small this time to see how it would fit. So hang on one second and I'll show you that make. Okay, so here's my second hack of McCall's Learn to Sew 7120. So again, 100% cotton. This fabric, I don't know if you can see it, it's got little stripes of roses. I adore this. I think it's so sweet. This was a find. I went back to visit my folks. This was a few months after my first swing at this pattern, and found this fabric that was formerly my Aunt Beth's fabric. Dug it out of an old fabric stash. Aunt Beth is no longer with us, but love to her and very grateful to have a piece of her to remember in this fabric. So my mom, as I unearthed it, she's like, oh yeah, Beth made a shift out of that back in the 60s, and she took her stripes of roses, and it had a yoke, and she ran the roses this way for the yoke, and then she ran them vertically for the body of the shift dress. So I love this fabric, super comfy and cool in the Tucson summer. I went with the small here, but even so, I felt like this neckline is just a little bit bigger. I get a little bit of gap when I bend over, so it's just a little bit bigger than I would like. But I've worn it a lot. At the back, I went with just a black cotton that I had in my stash. And I grabbed a flutter sleeve from a different dress pattern that I had attempted to create these little flutter sleeves for it. I'll hop up and let you see the back of it. I did the same treatment here where I created just a little bit of dip here in the back and these little slits on the side. If you know what these are, please tell me what this is called in the comments. Thank you. Okay, so you can see better fit, not quite so much bunching in the back, but it's a little bit lower than I like, but hey, I love it. I wear it a lot. So second hack success, and I'll show you one more. I've created one more hack from this pattern that I'm also quite in love with. Hold on. Third and final hack from McCall's Learn to Sew pattern 7120. I found this flannel at Joann's at the end of the summer last year, and I knew I was going to be going back to Nebraska to go to the homecoming football game with my dad at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Go Big Red, go Huskers. And so I went back again. to this pattern, and this time I looked at view B and I took the sleeves and just made them shorter. Let me stand up and show you. So I used that sleeve pattern, but then I just made it just below, somewhere between 3/4 sleeve and just below the elbow. And cut it by the size small. Added my little scarf here because I had a little extra fabric, and it's really nice 100% cotton flannel that I got from Joann's, and it's held up pretty well to washing and wearing. But I knew it was going to be kind of chilly outside, so I made myself a little scarf. And I redrafted the neckline on this one entirely. So I went in and redid it somewhere between the scoop neck and the V. So redrafted it, and I also got really bold and drafted the new facing to go with this. So that was like a big learning for me in this project. And it comes on and off great. I love it. It's comfortable. I've worn it so much. So yeah, there you go. While I was not successful in creating a dress from McCall's Learn to Sew pattern M7120, anyway, a dress that I would actually want to wear, I have come up with 3 hacks. So if you are wanting to learn how to create darts, it's got a pretty good explanation for how to create darts. Beware the fit issues. Cut to the size that my measurements suggest. Huge in the neck, tons of gaping fabric in the back. So I just went to the smaller size and added maybe a tiny bit more room in the bust. But all in all, this has been a really good addition to my pattern collection because it's been a great template. Once I figured out the size and how to get the neck where I wanted it, it's a great template for super simple, quick tops. All right, thanks for joining me. And if you're interested in yoga, wellness, creativity, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and remember to click the notifications bell so that you get notifications when I've posted new videos. And please give me a thumbs up here if you have enjoyed this video, and comments are very welcome below. I'd love to hear from you and chat with you. Namaste creative. Bye.